Obviously, when it comes to the resurrection, the evidence is historical in nature. It's based on the trustworthiness of eyewitness testimony. So we've got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, James. We have Paul writing in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 that over 500 people saw Jesus risen from the dead. The historical record is he was arrested, put through a mockery of a trial, nailed to a wooden crossbeam. A Roman soldier jams a spear into the side of Christ. Watery serum separate from clotted blood flows from the side. Medical sign of death. Separation of the watery serum from the clotted blood. They take his body off the cross, they put it in a tomb, they roll a stone in front of the tomb to make sure there's no hanky-panky, no Passover plot, no stealing of the dead body. His disciples are not a bunch of glassy-eyed, mesmerized believers. I love the way the Gospels describe the apostles as Christ deniers, Christ betrayers, Christ deserters. They were not true believers. They doubted, all of them, and they ditched Christ in his moment of need. 3 days after he dies, the Gospels record that he first appears to some women. The reason I find that interesting is because of the grotesque sexism of the first century. If I was trying to foist a fail as a male author on society that the dead Christ had risen from the dead, I never would have had my first eyewitness be women. A woman's testimony was not even allowed in court. It was sick. Incredibly grotesque sexism. But the Gospels have the ring of authenticity as Christ first appears, risen from the dead, to a grief-torn woman named Mary Magdalene. Then, over a period of 40 days, he appears to over 500 people who see him at different times in different places, risen from the dead. Now, what really kicks it home for me is those folks, the majority of them, who saw Christ risen from the dead, stood before Roman soldiers, and the Roman soldiers said, "Say Caesar is Lord and live." Emperor worship is the way we're unifying the Roman Empire right now. Or else maintain that your Jesus is risen from the dead, that he is Lord, and we will kill you for it. And these eyewitnesses who saw Christ risen from the dead said, "We have seen Jesus risen from the dead. He is Lord," and they died, not for a belief. They died not for a passion. They died for what they claimed to have seen, the dead Christ risen from the dead. Which means, if they hadn't seen him risen from the dead, they died for what they knew to be a lie. I think if you study psychology, you will find out that people will not die to cover up what they know to be a lie.
I really don't want to sound inflammatory, but...
You're not, don't worry.
Okay, thanks.
I like you a lot.
Thanks, appreciate it. That's really...
Thank you.
Makes me feel good.